Welcome everybody to the X Factor podcast today on this Monday afternoon. We're going to get right into it. You already know we have a full-blown episode today. We got SmackDown to talk about. A lot of professional wrestling to talk about. You got wrestling, you got SmackDown, Collision, Battle of the Belts. You got the G1 Climax that just happened. You had Slammiversary that just happened. And I'll even talk about some NFL things that have been going on. Well, I'll probably wait for a later date because I got so much stacked on tonight. I did not get the match ratings for SmackDown because there were some cut in and outs between SmackDown, so I'll have to rewatch, get the ratings for that. But SmackDown overall, the stuff that I've seen, I thought it was pretty good. Elton Prince is hurt. Sorry to see that. That was people are getting hard on Ridge Holland for it, which, my take on it is, he's gotten 2 people injured, but he says this one was not his injured, like it wasn't his fault. And it could just be bad luck, or it could be accidents because of lack of talent in some aspects. Elton Prince, will see him in a couple weeks, or about a month or whatever. But Big E, that's a whole different situation. That was a blow-on accident at that. So can't really put much hate on Ridge Holland. But Santos Escobar is going on won the Fatal 4-Way to face either Sheamus, LA Knight, Cameron Grimes, or Rey Mysterio, which will be number one contendership for the U.S. title. Santos Escobar won it. I thought the match was good. Like I said, the stuff that I did see out, I'll rewatch it and get my ratings in for that. We do got to talk about the Fatal 4-Way for next week. LA Knight, Cameron Grimes, Sheamus, Rey Mysterio. They all three guys got a video package, except for one guy. It was LA Knight. They had a segment before the show last week where Top Dollar and them were talking trash, and LA Knight came out. And I feel like that's when they really said, "Hey, this is when we're gonna do our babyface turn right here." Because if he was a heel, he would have joined with them. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's where they showed where his babyface run is. And now, Friday, he had a babyface promo. Amazing promo. Whether if you want to call him a rip-off of The Rock, you know who you are, Kevin Nash, or whatever, LA Knight is the future right now. And he's only 40. We get that. So is Damian Priest. So is Shinsuke. So is Finn Balor. So is Bobby. So is Edge. So is AJ. Cody Rhodes is only a couple years, is like 2 years younger than him. Like, come on now. So he's gonna have a good future ahead of him. Whether if he gets to that world title spot, I don't know. He'll probably be a main eventer at some point. Don't know when, where, how. I feel like he could, and he should, but that's just my take on that. Bobby Lashley came back with the Street Profits, and they went in the limousine and left. A couple months ago, there was some tease about her business giving their own thing. I feel like now, I was wondering what the Street Profits were doing. We're now at a point with the Street Profits where Bobby Lashley, Street Profits, that's going to be good stuff right there. I think it would work both ways for babyfaces and heels. I feel like the babyface run would be good. I feel like heels should be the perfect way to go. I feel like going after OC would be amazing. Bobby and AJ, they've had their run in TNA. They've had their big impacts. No pun intended. So I feel like that would be something to look forward to. Shotzi Blackheart. She shaved her head. I was confused. I was like, what is she doing? Type of thing here. Coming afterwards, it was for her sister who has cancer. And I'm going to call out JD from JD, whatever his fucking shitty ass podcast is. He is such a douchebag, and the delusion on this motherfucker is so big. It pisses me off. He said that what they did was a Vince McMahon move. You know, which I can understand why he would think that at the start. But after they realize what happened, you should be like, oh, yeah, I should probably silently delete this because it's... Or apologize. I don't even think he apologized. He sat there and says... He sat there in a tweet saying, that, you know, no, like, none of you guys knew this was going on, or why would... Or something about she's never going to be, like, a top star, even with her bald head or whatever, or something like that. In that kind of aspect of the tweet. It was shortly deleted after, which is a dickhead thing to say, you know, because we all know he fucking meant it. Don't matter. And then on his podcast, he said, this is one part I'm going to call out here. He says, go on Bumble, go get laid or whatever, and your 40-year-old or fat, slobbery, virgin video gaming geek ass and get a woman. This is the same guy who is 11 o'clock at night on a Friday talking about professional wrestling in front of a camera. And yet we're the geeks here. I do it because this is my passion. This is what I want to do. I want to cover professional wrestling. I want to cover football. That is my passion. That's what I want to do. That's why I do what I do. But I'm not going to sit here and say these MJF typical heel insults and say, you know, you're just a 40-year-old virgin geek living in your mother's basement. Blah. Like, come on, dude. Like, the delusion of this dude is is stupid. And if somehow I get lucky, he sees this and mentions it on his podcast. Oh, wait, I got mentioned by some fucking idiot. Cool. You're just giving me attention for my small little show that I'm trying to run here, that I'm trying to get up and kick started. A couple months ago, I called him out on something about AEW. Well, he said something about not liking open challenges, and I said something about keep that same energy with AEW, and he went off. His fan base went off. His dick riders went off. Said, "Oh, you give this." There's one guy that said, you know, you give this guy his most attention he's had in months. And I said, "Sure, bud." And he, of course, mentioned my podcast. He mentioned the 48 followers I have. Yeah, I've been starting this for 3 months. I've been on a slow start here. I've been off and on. I've got things going on in my life. I'm only 17 years old. Give me a fucking break here. Like, come on, dude. So, coming after a 17-year-old like that with issues that are already going on in their life, yeah, cool. But this is my full thing. This is what I want to do. So, I'm not going to sit here and call these wrestling fans idiots and 40-year-old geek virgins, and because there's a lot of them that know what they're talking about. You know, a lot of if you watch the product, you have every right to put your opinion on the product. Especially if you've been watching it 10, 12, 3, 4, maybe you've only been watching it for a month and a half or a year. You still get to say what you think. And yes, you're going to have people that don't like your opinions. That's called life. You're going to have people that are going to disagree with you on every little thing. You're going to have people that are going to say the most outrageous things just to get clicks and views. Me, I'm typical. I'm real. I'm not some fake person that's just going to sit here and say Shotzi should be world champion, or freaking, let's see here, Ridge Holland should defeat Roman Reigns just for clicks and views. And we all know that's never going to happen. Shotzi, I'm hoping with this new change of hers, this is what gets her going and gets up through the future. I could see a little bit of a babyface cheer pop coming from the crowd now. Hopefully that goes well. Ridge Holland ain't going to beat Roman, but if they build him quite enough, yeah, they could definitely do it. If they wanted to. it's just, people like him, really, just JD, really just, they don't, are not, they're not the type of wrestling fans you want to be around with. The amount of toxic people that are in this wrestling community makes me sick. Because you're gonna have your trolls, which trolls are the most funny people I've ever seen. Like, there's a couple guys on Twitter that are funny when it comes to trolling. Then you got your actual fans that are passionate, like Cornette, which I will mention Cornette because he's a passionate wrestling fan. Yes, he's out of touch a little bit. Yes, he doesn't like what the wrestling business is nowadays. All that type of stuff. When it comes from guys to Cornette to some freaking random 6-year-old that just started watching wrestling, they all have opinion on the product, and you're going to have people that argue with you. And the fact that people get butthurt when people argue with them is really just sad. But the thing that gets me is when people insult things that are going on with them. Like, if they know that they said something that, that makes them sensitive, boom, they say it just for the toxic trait in them. The social media, wrestling Twitter, wrestling TikTok, are two different toxic communities. They're all toxic in their own way. Me, I just see how I think it is, how I think it should happen. Yes, I think some guys that are good. So there's some guys I want to see get pushed that are not the best. That's just who I am. That's just. I think every wrestling fan feels that way with a certain someone. So, that's pretty much what I got on that. That was just one thing off Friday that really, really ticked me off there. So you already know now. We got to talk about Collision. And yes, I did get the match ratings for Collision, Slammiversary, and the G1 for the first 2 days. There was the start of the show, FTR first Bullet Club Gold. Last week they had a banger 28, almost half-hour match. With Bullet Club ended up winning, and they got a title shot 2 out of 3 falls. So, give me a second here. So sitting there, you were like, yeah, it's gonna be a good match, but can they top what they did last week? Short answer, fuck yeah, they did. This match is better than their last match. And I'm not gonna say way better, because it's gonna make it seem like the other match wasn't that, was enthusiasting, but this one also had a stipulation. It gave off good old tag team wrestling vibes. And there's this thing with me, with good tag teams trying to carry some of these tag teams that are not the best, but they're trying to get good. FTR is one of those tag teams that can take a team that's less talented than them and make them seem like megastars. And that's what FTR did. You notice the Young Bucks. And I'm going to put Dave Meltzer ratings in here because, everyone likes to see Dave's ratings. Everyone likes to talk about him. So guess what? I'm going to talk about him. I'm going to talk about anyone, whoever I want to, on here. And if I hurt your feelings, I hurt your feelings. It's just my opinion on it. Like I said, if you want your opinion, comment, tweet, XFactorMG5654. Boom, I gave you my Twitter. Follow. Tell me what you think. Young Bucks. People call this team the most magical, the best tag team in the world, the best tag team of all time. And, I look at I'm going to go off Dave Meltzer's ratings here, so I'm seeing, because he gives a good reference for some people. And I look at them. Almost every single one of them Young Bucks' 5-star rated matchups either included Pentagon Jr., Ray Phoenix, Kenny Omega, Jon Moxley, Hangman Adam Page. It either had to add one of those guys in all of them. Or the Briscoes or FTR. So it made me start thinking, can, Young Bucks, take a team that's less talented than them and make them seem like megastars. I don't think there's one team that they could do that with. Dante Martin and Darius Martin, we seen that a couple months ago where they beat them. You can say that, but they're really talented. Like, they're already really good. Talent-wise, they're already amazing. But you gotta take a team that's, like, about as new as Bullet Club. I know Bullet Club, they've been with each other. Juice Robinson, Jay White, they've been with each other. But can they do what the FTR did with Bullet Club? That is the main question. In the upcoming months, we're going to see that with, I feel like we're going to see more of that coming soon. But that's just really going to put my case for if the Young Bucks are overrated or not. So, if they can take, because they're talented. When they don't use super kicks, they can show that they can really wrestle. They can, not technical down to the mat wrestling. I mean acrobatic, not Olympic, more like gymnastic type wrestling. High fly wrestling, if you want to call it like that. And I want to know, they're good at doing what they're doing there. I just want to, and they can also predict what their matches look like. Same thing, you can sometimes predict what the Usos' their matches are like, or Roman's matches. But the difference is when you predict what's going to happen and you're correct, at least make it look good. Roman can do that. Brock can do that. At a point, Undertaker could do that. At a point, Hogan could do that. Where what the outcome is going to be, where what's going to happen. Yes, Roman's going to kick out of 3 of your finishers, and he make it look like you're going to win. Oh, rough's down, make it so dramatic, boom, match ends. But then you got to make it look good. So, this comes up with the Young Bucks here. Can they do the same thing they can do? I'm not trying to compare them. I'm saying if they want to show that they're the best. Dudley's, for example. It was always bring out a table. You always knew a table was coming out. But how is it going to go? Is it going to go well? Is it going to be dramatic? Or what is it? They got to make it good. What end of a Jeff Hardy or Matt Hardy match is going to be like. You already know what it's going to be like. Christian and Edge. Briscoes, FTR. Sometimes with FTR and Briscoes, you never know what the fuck's going to happen because some of the most outrageous, fun shit's going to happen. But the Young Bucks, you already knew what they're going to do. They're going to do their Olympic stuff, their gymnastic stuff, super kick, end of the match. And I enjoy everything up until the super kick part because super kicks are the most overused finisher or overused moves. And the worst part is they have that as a finisher. That's what the problem is. So, that's just my take on it. But FTR and Bullet Club Gold, that was an amazing matchup for the titles. FTR retained. I feel that they could run with Collision as tag champions. And the start of Collision as well, with the interviews and the start of the thing, it makes it feel very 1980s-ish. But it's amazing. And I love that they do that. It makes you interested in the show, and then the theme song and all that. It's perfect. Collision is your typical perfect professional wrestling show. You got your storylines, and you got good professional, and you got wrestling, and you got good wrestling at that. Sometimes you have great wrestling, and the first match with FTR and Bullet Club, that was great wrestling. Great. One of the best tag matches I have seen. If I had to name any more, I'd probably say that FTR and Briscoes are my top 3 favorite tag team wrestling matches of all time. Their 3 are my favorite ones of all time. You can't tell me otherwise. Those are some like the most best matches I've ever seen from tag team wrestling. And I'm just going based off what I have personally saw. But as of late, I've been watching a lot of older wrestling matches, so I can throw a couple of other people's in. So a good preference, because I've only been watching since 2015, 2016, around there. And I quit watching during the pandemic era, so that's why I'm trying to catch up on a lot of wrestling stuff that I missed. And I know the pandemic era was not the best. PG era, not the best. 2016, 2018 was where me as a wrestling fan peaked. And then just the summer or the end of winter of 2022. The early of 2022 is when I started watching wrestling again. So, and that's when I said, "Boom, I'm just gonna do this." So, but FTR Bull Club, the match was amazing. I loved what they were doing. What's it gonna lead up to next? I feel like with FTR winning, I feel like this should end into a pay-per-view matchup soon. I feel like it's gonna be too long to build this up into Wembley, because what are you gonna do from all that up? Of course, you can probably have the Guns try to go after them. Because I feel like now with the Guns in there, it's gonna have Jay White as the main star, Juice Robinson as the mid card, and them as the tag guys, which is a perfect lineup right there for if you want a faction. That's a perfect lineup. And Juice Robinson, he has the potential to be up where Jay White is, maybe even better. So that's where I leave and stand on that. Any other questions, comments, anything? Comments down below. Twitter in the bio. XFactorMG5654. Twitter will be in the link down below. I'll tell you what it is. Like I said, XFactorMG5654. Trying to get to 1,000. If I hit 1,000 followers and 1,000 subscribers, I will do a face reveal, and I will shave my head bald. Just for the fans. And I will keep it bald until my next goal. Or I won't shave my head until my next goal. So CM Punk, Ruby Soho versus Willow Nightingale for the Women's Owen Hart Cup tournament. We knew the drama coming into it. This is the best thing about Collision. I'll say this right now. The amount of story building matches that we got that we're getting overall, or matches that end up going into angles, like with the House of Black and the two other guys, and then Andrade coming in with the mask, all that type of stuff. But Ruby and Willow Knight, we knew the beef going into it. I think they were tag partners at one point. Ruby turned on her, joined the Outcast, and well, here we are, another match to go. Ruby Soho's had her number most of the time, but Willow Nightingale ended up with the win, and in my opinion, it was a good match. My only gripe though is why and I don't mean to hate, but as a watching it, it's like, why there's a certain person that's like, why are you even there? What do you do? And it's Saraya. Like, what does she really do besides stand there and try to act heelish? It's like, not many people want to see you there. That people think that you're washed up and you can't do it anymore. Deep down, you probably know you can't do this as good as you used to be. And I think the main reason is that neck. She's only had a couple matches so far. And when she came here, I was excited. And now when the match she had with Britt Baker was not that great, and Britt Baker is, in my opinion, overrated. To what they're doing here now, Ruby Soho and Toni Storm are really carrying this rivalry or this feud, built-up feud. I feel like they're gonna keep going until Jamie Hayter comes back. But it's just it comes to a point where it's like, you should think, why, like, what is my purpose still doing? Because, like, at this point, she just ruined her, in my opinion, she just ruined her reputation. Because you don't want to sit there and go, yeah, I had a good run in WWE and then I went to AEW and, it flopped. Nobody wants to say that. Nobody ever wants to admit that. But I'm going to say it right here, right now. I feel like she's flopped. I feel like she's not as big as a star as she used to be. Even if she went babyface, she would not be the same. Because it's like, oh yeah, we know what you were like. We know what your matches are. They're not that great. And when you're watching AEW, you need to be a good professional wrestler. Like, if you go to WWE, yeah, you could be a shitty-ass fucking wrestler. But guess what? You're still going to get shown on TV. The crowd's still going to cheer for you because of either a storyline or whatever. It doesn't matter if you're a shitty-ass wrestler. Most of the 90% of that fan base cares about the storylines. 10% care about the wrestling. Me personally, I want to see both. I want to see good storylines. I want to see good professional wrestling. And it feels like when you get a good storyline and a good wrestling match, and you built it together and you get all that, it's some of the best stuff of all time. That's where you notice a lot of the best professional wrestling storylines of all time are good wrestling matches and good storylines. The Bloodline, they've had banger matches. We're coming to a conclusion of it. Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair. Magnum TA and Koloff. Like Stone Cold and Bret Hart. And Stone Cold after his neck, this was before the neck injury, so he was all right professional wrestling wise, But like I said, in WWE, it's like you can be a shitty ass wrestler, but you're still gonna get shown because of the storylines. That's the one thing I will hate about WWE, is that they, some of them people don't even deserve to be on TV, because I feel like they go at 70.75 speed. They go slow, and it's awful. And then, you watch AEW match, and it's like, it's alright, it's not the best, it's sloppy. And then you watch Impact, and I've been watching a lot of Impact as of late. Their wrestling division is about as good as NXT's women's division. And then you got New Japan Women Wrestling, like Stardom, and yeah, the Stardom stuff, some of the stuff they do is stupid, but they are great wrestlers. And regardless of you don't know what they're talking about or not, they are great wrestlers. I'd rather freaking, see Asuka and Io Sky face each other 75 times in a freaking month. Or, I would rather have them have like a 2-hour Iron Man match than watch a 5-minute squash match on Raw or SmackDown with a women's match. That's just my preference. Because Io Sky and Asuka are some of the best. Charlotte, one of the best. You got it. And when you have the talk, when you can wrestle, that's where you're the best. Right there. MJF, he can talk. He can walk. He can wrestle. Charlotte, she can talk. And she can wrestle. Roman, he might not have the best wrestling ability, but he covers that with storyline stuff and amazing matches that always end up to the build-up. To the climax of that match, and then that's when they start having that's when they start getting the good shit out of them. And the best thing about Roman is he reminds me of a lot of New Japan matches. Like I said, I've watched a lot of G1 Climax matches over the last week. So, Roman matches remind me of New Japan matches. And I think that's why I like Roman so much. He builds everything up until the climax, and then boom, you start hitting your spots. And that's where the love of professional wrestling hits me, is when I watch New Japan or a Roman Reigns match or a Cody Rhodes match or anything like that. Is when you hit that, you go slow, but then you hit that climax, and then boom, everything just starts going off. So, but that's just what I think. But, CM Punk, Ricky Stark, it's weird I got from Ruby Soho or Will Nightingale to what I was just talking about. Like I said, when I get going, it goes into a whole different situation. Ratings of the match I'll give at the end. So, CM Punk versus Ricky Starks, the finals for the tournament, good match. My opinion, wrong guy won, unless they got some type of storyline going on. Ricky Starks, he won off of a roll up, but hold on to the rope, left. Jushin Thunder Liger, I was like, oh, Jushin Thunder's here. Took the freaking trophy and left. I was like, damn, they used Thunder Liger just for that spot. Man. And after the match, it gave very heelish type of, heelish ways for Ricky Starks. And I don't know about turning Ricky Starks heel would be the best decision, but I feel like it'd be the right decision at the same time. It's a right and wrong decision, especially if you're trying to have it with Punk. And we all know what Punk's like. He's getting mixed reactions every single night. And because we all know what happened. But, it just, if they can somehow pull this off and then get people to start like Punk and hate Ricky Starks, Tony Khan and Danielson, whoever's doing that, they're doing something special. But that's just really what I got on it. The match was good. I feel like Punk, he sells everything well. Ricky Starks, I feel like I said, the last couple weeks I've been feeling a little heelish from Ricky Starks. So, but yeah, when he walked away and all that, and the crowd, they're just. And my thing on it with Punk is, if you generally don't like Punk and don't want him around the professional wrestling business, then and I've noticed this, a lot of guys that don't like Punk or don't like his style of wrestling or what he does, a lot of them have not done shit for professional wrestling. Michael Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler's little brother. What has he done in professional wrestling to make me say, oh, I like this guy? Nothing. Brandon Cutler. What has Brandon Cutler done to say, ooh, I like this guy? Nothing. 2 honorable mentions just sitting right here. Jungle Boy. There was some stuff with Jungle Boy and stuff about going against Punk. What has he done? Rarely nothing. His heel run, not that great. His promos suck. Let's just be honest. It's just, if you don't think Punk is right for the business, you've done nothing for professional wrestling. It's just that, you could see guys like Mark Henry, Danielson, Jarrett, all those veteran guys that have talked about Punk in the last 6, 7, 8 months. Notice that a lot of them have something in common. They've done something in professional wrestling, and they've worked with Punk. There's a time where Jericho had a little issue with him. Jericho's done a lot in the business, so he has every right to say what he says, regardless if people think he's delusional or not. But that's just my take on it. That's what, I'm just gonna start saying that after I get done with every because that's my take on it. So, I gotta acknowledge one thing though. OC, Orange Cassidy versus Lance Archer, man. My main thing from that match, because Battle of the Belts was right after that, my main thought after that is, why on earth is Jake the Snake still around? Lance Archer doesn't need a manager, in my opinion. He's a monster in his own way. And Jake the Snake being there, Jake the Snake looks like he needs to sit on a couch and watch the news. He looks bad. And I don't even know, I think he's in his mid-60s. And he looks like that. He's looking rough. He's looking very, very rough. And that gets you to think, why would you take him like that? There's a point where you sit there and think, why is he there? And there was a little bit of a thing where Lance Archer's told Jake to stay back. Let me do my thing. Orange Cassidy obviously won. He won off of a count out, which is the most logical reason for him to lose. Because if he would have won off a pinfall, I wouldn't have been so hyped with the match. But the way he won, I think it was the right decision. And Orange Cassidy grabbing his hand afterward. He's had hand issues for the last 4 months now. So, of course, they're going to lead up to something with the hand. But Taya Valkyrie, Toni Storm, guess what? Worst moment of the week right there. The feed for that match got fucking cut off. Pissed me off. I don't know what the hell was going on there, but the feed got cut off. And then they just led off to something else, And it was just awful. And then after that, I turned the TV off because I was like, I'm not doing this. And then I didn't even get to watch Luchasaurus and Shawn Spears match, which was I rewatched. It was all right, not the best. So I watched Slammiversary. We're gonna get right into it here with Slammiversary. Collision, I thought was a good show, great professional wrestling show. Slammiversary, 2023. Giselle Shaw, Savannah Evans, Jay Vidal versus Um, Jody Threat Death Dolls. Or Death Dolls, or whatever. I said I've been watching Impact the last couple weeks. I'm just trying to get my way going here. The match I thought was alright. Nothing really that great. I think there was not much really to think about there. It was just an alright match. Joe Hendry versus Kenny King. We have a new media champion and Kenny King. The match was not good in any means. The ending was kind of trash. Stripper Kenny, of course, getting his little groove there. I like Joe Hendry, though. Joe Hendry, he is an interesting, very, very interesting. Like, he's a guy that, like, WWE would definitely bring on because he's just so entertaining. And if they keep it like this, yeah, he would definitely get up and go well. So, I thought it was a good match. Or not that great of a match, so it wasn't that good. Mike Bailey, Jonathan Gresham, Kushida, Kevin Knight, and Alan Angels and Jake something, all in the X Division ladder match thing that they do every year for Slammiversary. Match was really short, in my opinion. For a ladder match, or what do they even call it? The X Division. I'm just gonna call it just the X Division match or whatever. Sorry, like I said, I've just been watching Impact now, so it's just give me a break here, ladies and gentlemen. The match was alright. It was very short. The spots I think was good. Kushida won. So, but the match was really, really short. So, Killer Kelly and Slamovich versus the Coven for the Impact Knockouts Women Championships. Killer Kelly and Slamovich won the titles. I thought the match was a good match. I thought it was alright. Killer Kelly, I thought that was Alba Fire when she came in. I'm like, why the fuck is Alba Fire in Impact? But it's not Alba Fire. So, Scott D'Amore and a mystery partner versus Bully Ray and Diener. And there was a spot last year where I was watching a little bit of Impact, and Death by Design was around, and a certain Eric Young was around, and he's left and went to WWE. He came back, and as Team Canada. The match was amazing. Scott D'Amore still got it. And what the crowd was saying, that he still got it. He's definitely got it. Match was good. Really good. In the Diener and Eric Young, the storytelling between them. You know the storytelling between Bully and Scott D'Amore. Everyone has their own storytelling in their own part. Eric Young was in WWE. He left because of Vince. Fuck Vince McMahon because he's a fucking douchebag. You fucking fucker. That's gonna be the title right there. You fucking fucker, Vince McMahon. But it was a good match, really good match. Like I said, everyone had their own little storytelling in their match. Like everyone had their own little story from each rivalry they've had. Leo Rush versus Chris Sabin for the X Division title. Leo Rush won in like a minute. The rumor was around that Chris Sabin was hurt, so I could see why the match was short. But if he wasn't hurt and it leads up to something stupid, or leads up to something, it's gonna be all right. But the match really short, nothing really much to think about. I just wasn't really much into it. Subculture versus ABC versus Brian Myers and Moose versus Rich Swann and Sami Callihan. And in my opinion, it was a good match. It was a good four-way. I'm not much for four-way tag matches or multi-man matches, but if you get me on my feet for it, you've done something good. Match I thought was amazing. Good stuff going all around. Subculture won from help from the Rascals, so now we get to the big stuff here, because the final three matches, in my opinion, were bangers. Eddie Edwards versus Frankie Kazarian. And man, I started watching off and on at a point where Eddie Edwards was fighting with PCO, and they had that one thing where PCO was trying to fight Eddie. Good stuff, by the way. And then you get this, Frankie Kazarian and Eddie. They've had some banger matches, and I'm going to call this one of their banger matches. The match, it gave them their spots. They gave them their time. I love how the both women both got involved in their own spots. Nothing was terribly bad, besides the women's spot. But, when you're not really much of a wrestler. You know, you don't really, not everything's to be good. It's just make it look like a women's fight. Eddie Edwards, my bad, won the match. And in my opinion, I thought Frankie should have won because I'm a huge Frankie Kazarian fan. I'm starting to like Frankie now. There's a time when he was in AEW, I liked him, and when he joined Impact, I wanted him to win the world title, but he did not win the world title. So, you know, I was kind of upset about that. But match was amazing. Trinity versus Deonna Purrazzo for the Knockouts Women's title. And this is one of the things I love, that Trinity is doing something really well now. And, you know, the amount of hate I seen from after this video, or after the match, saying that Trinity would have done nothing without WWE. No fucking shit, she would have been nothing without WWE. You wanna know how many fucking wrestlers around would not be nothing without WWE? Roman. Brock. Well, Brock wouldn't be nothing without Paul. Let's just be honest right there. Brett. Stone Cold. The Rock. Triple H. Shawn Michaels. Undertaker. These guys wouldn't be nothing without WWE. So, of course, you're going to say Trinity. You know, if Trinity wasn't in WWE, she probably would have not won that title. But she was so underutilized over there, she decided she wanted to do something better for herself, went to a new company, and guess what? 2 months in, she's already a fucking world champion. Like, if you're jealous because someone else is doing better, not in WWE, you're legit you have problems. Same thing with Mercedes Moné. She left WWE because of Vince and the whole bullshit. I don't blame her. You guys are acting like WWE was cooking freaking magic beans up in that place before Triple H took over. The way you guys make it seem like is Trinity and Mercedes Moné would have been better off doing the stupid shit they were doing before leaving. You know what I mean? They're acting like Vince was cooking up some good shit before Triple H came along. No, he was not. He was cooking ass. Bonafide ass. So, don't even get me started. And I'll get on the Moxley here in just a second here. Because Moxley, he's another, you know. Yeah, I'm just going to talk about right here. People are on Moxley, calling him the worst. Brian Last, for example, Jim Cornette's co-host, said that Moxley was the worst wrestler he has ever seen. Or TV wrestler he's ever seen, whatever. And everyone calls him he's such a bad wrestler. Where's the bad wrestling in him? He likes hardcore matches. Okay. He likes putting shit in his fucking head. Okay. If you're a fan of ECW and you don't like Jon Moxley, you're a fucking idiot. Because Jon Moxley would have thrived in ECW. He would have thrived with Taz, Sabu, Sandman. You know, he would have been just like the rest of them. And he's probably the best out of all of them, besides Taz and RVD and Dreamer. Moxley's up there as one of the better hardcore wrestlers. You know, and if, you know, and for another example, if you're not a fan of Bruiser Brody, if you're a fan of Bruiser Brody and Nick Gage and Abdullah Butcher, where you know hardcore shit's gonna happen, and you don't like Moxley, the fuck, like, where's your fucking, is it because he left WWE? You guys are acting, like I said, there's another thing, you people are acting like 2018 to 2022, Vince McMahon was cooking magic beans when he was cooking ass. Like, Moxley leaving WWE for AEW and New Japan and all that was probably the best decision he's ever made. Let's run this down since he's left WWE. He is a one-time GCW World Champion. He's a two-time New Japan US Heavyweight Champion. He is a three-time AEW Champion plus the interim reign, so I'm calling that a 4-time reign. He's a 4-time AEW Champion. And he's going to be part of Blood and Guts 2 years in a row. And Blood and Guts has not had that prestige yet, but it's gonna. So, in my opinion, he's doing a lot better now than what he was ever doing in WWE. Regardless of what you think of his wrestling ability and the hardcore style. If you like ECW and you like what they did, and if you liked the hardcore shit they did in GCW, and if you like fucking Nick Gage and all that bullshit, and you don't like Moxley, then you're an idiot. I'm just like I like get that around my head is if you like all those guys, but not Moxley because he left WWE. Like if you're just mad at people that leave WWE for other companies, you're stupid. Like I get you don't want to see them go to another company, but that's just how it is. So WWE is sports entertainment. People should have known that a long time ago. They're not gonna have 5-star matches on Raw or SmackDown every week like AEW sometimes would. That's just my take on it. But off from that, we're gonna get to our main event: Alex Shelley versus Nick Aldis, the main event for the world title. The match I thought was amazing. It was really amazing. Nick Aldis. I have not seen a lot of Nick Aldis stuff until he went to Impact. Like I said, I've just been getting into NWA as of late. So, Tyrus might be the world's NWA champion of all time. Just pointing that out. The match is amazing. I can understand why Nick Aldis left NWA at that point because he's a major star. He's a star, great wrestler. And in my opinion, I thought he was going to AEW. I thought he was going to AEW or maybe a WWE, and he goes to Impact, and it's like, ooh, he's never won the Impact World Title, and he loses. And that's what got me shocked is that he lost. And now it's reported that WWE wants him. But the problem is with WWE wanting him, he's no longer with Impact as of now. There was like one taped thing, or we had one match, and I think it was with Eric Young or whatever, and that's the last time you get to see Nick Aldis. And Nick Aldis, he, there's a report that WWE wants him, but the problem is they want him as a producer, as a potential producer. It's okay to be a producer, but a guy that's that fucking talented. He's only 36 years old. And so they try to put age in this, I'm going to fucking super kick somebody. Because the age thing in wrestling is so fucking stupid sometimes. Especially when it comes to older guys. I'd rather have a 43-year-old veteran who puts on banger matches and goes to my company, knowing that he's had those banger matches, than some 23-year-old, 24, 25-year-old that they're trying to build up and that has not worked. I'd rather put the title on the older guy. It goes to the guy who really deserves it. It doesn't really give a fuck about age at this point. Age in wrestling does not matter to a point. To a point. The point of that is if you're old and you're putting on stinkers every week, like Goldberg, that's where you need help. Or, you're hurting everybody. That's where yeah, it's my time to leave. But Nick Aldis, amazing wrestler. Imagine the potential matches. Even if you put him in NXT, they're trying to make that into a third brand. If they make that to that third brand and they do what the shit they're doing now, Nick Aldis could be a star. Like, imagine the potential sitting right in front of you. And if they're gonna flush it away like they did with Eric Young, then fuck them, I guess. I don't know. But I've come to a point in the episode where I'm going to talk about New Japan's Climax episode. I'm going to talk about the Climax tomorrow because I got other stuff I got to do. Good thing there is no Climax tonight. G1 Climax matches tonight. So good thing I have extra to talk about or some extras to talk about tomorrow, plus Monday Night Raw. But I'm going to give you my ratings right now. FTR vs. Bullet Club Gold got a 5-star from me. I think that's the first 5-star to come out of me right now. Yeah, this is the first 5-star to come out of me so far. Oh, by the way, Dynamite. I did not do Dynamite. So, Chris Jericho Commander, I got a 3.25. Cassidy and Darby versus JAS, I got a 3.25. MJF and Adam Cole versus Brian Cage and Big Bill, 3.5. Ruby versus Sky Blue, 3. Nick Wayne versus Swerve at a 4.5. By the way, Swerve is the potential for AEW. He's going to be the next world champion. FTR versus Bullet Club, 5 stars. Ruby Soho versus Willow Nightingale, 3.5. CM Punk versus Ricky Starks, 4. OC versus Lance Archer, 3. Taya Valkyrie and Tony Storm did not get a rating. Luchasaurus for Sean Spears, I give that a 3.5. Or 3.25. Giselle Shaw, Savannah Evans and Vidal versus Death Dolls, 3. Joe Hendry versus Kenny King, a 2.75. Mike Bailey, Jonathan Gresham, Kushida, Kevin Knight, Alan Angels, and Jake something, 3.5. Killer Kelly and Slamovich versus The Coven, 3.25. Scott Demore and Eric Young versus Bully Ray and Diener at a 4. Leo Rush versus Chris Sabian at a 2. Subculture ABC Brian Myers, Moose, and Rich Swan and Sammy at 3.25. Eddie Edwards versus Frankie Kazarian at a 4.25. Trinity versus Deanna Purrazzo at a 4.25. And Alex Shelley versus Nichols got a 4.5. Now we get to awards. Match of the week, Bull Club versus FTR. You already know why. Worst match of the week, Emma versus Shayna Baszler. Segment of the week, Kenny announcing Kota Ibushi for the 5th man with Pac and all that stuff. Show of the week, Collision. Wrestler of the week, Jay Uso. Women's Wrestler of the week, Willow Nightingale. Worst thing to happen this week, TV cuts out during the Toni Storm match. That's all I got for you today. In my opinion, banger episode. You all have a good day. Stay blessed. I will continue tomorrow with Monday Night Raw and the G1 Climax, and maybe I'm trying to fit in the NFL stuff. I will fit in the NFL stuff at a point before, or I might just start all that in August. I don't know. Give me your opinions down below. Comment down below what you think. Subscribe for more, please. I'm trying to get the goals up going. If you want to see me bald, let's do it. I will be streaming on Kick and Twitch soon. And Twitter is XFactorMG5654 for hot takes for professional wrestling and football, NFL, college football, whatever you want. So, or just advice on life. Don't really matter. I can be a therapist if you want me to. So, have a good day and stay blessed.